This is one of the most debated sandwiches in American cuisine of all time. Right here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the cheesesteak capital of the world. Today, we're on a mission to find the best cheesesteak in the city. Along the way, we'll uncover its origins, discover what separates a good cheesesteak from a great one, and get insider tips from the locals who know it best.
There's no better way to start the video than at Pat's, the inventors of the Philly cheesesteak.
Now, I know a lot of people call this spot a tourist trap, but it just didn't feel right if we did a cheesesteak video without paying homage to the people who invented it.
Can I get a cheesesteak, whiz wit?
Now, while I was waiting for my order, one of the owners recognized the camera we were filming with, so he invited us to hop in the back to show us how the OGs do it.
I don't know about everybody else in Philadelphia or anybody else who makes cheesesteaks.
Yes.
We have fresh imported ribeye that we slice ourselves. We don't do that chopping thing that other people do.
Like, why do some people chop it?
They buy a lesser grade of meat and they chop it up, and I don't know. People, I guess they associate that with a like steak. That's like ground meat. I don't know why anybody would want to eat that unless they don't have teeth. This is the way we do it here. We're old school. We invented it. This is the way it is. It's steak, it's soybean oil, it's onions, it's cheese.
So Pat, the owner, he actually had a hot dog stand across the street where he was selling hot dogs. But one day he got really bored and he just decided to chop up some steak and then make a steak sandwich. A taxi cab driver actually came and smelled that and then asked for that order.
And then after a while, the employees got tired of eating sandwiches with and without onions, and he wanted some cheese on it. So then we put cheese on it. My father found Cheese Whiz in 1956, and that was the invention of the Philly cheesesteak. This is Kraft Cheese Whiz.
Cheese Whiz.
We also have American Cooper Sharp, Provolone, and Cheese Whiz. So this is it. This is where it was all invented, right here in this building, on this island, undisputed inventors, creators of the Philly steak sandwich and the Philly cheesesteak.
So the inventors of the cheesesteak gave us a behind-the-scenes look in the kitchen. But how does it taste?
Pull it out.
You gotta pay homage to the originators, the inventors. This is where the Philly cheesesteak was created. Should we just dig in? I'm not a big cheesesteak expert, but I will say this is really solid. Like, I know for a fact that this place gets a lot of flack and people call it a tourist trap. This is a really solid cheesesteak. I think this gives us a good reference of what a cheesesteak is. Now, I'm really curious to see what the locals like.
In Philly, there's no better way to find the best cheesesteak than by hitting the streets and talking to the people who live here.
So where can we find the best Philly cheesesteaks?
Oh, that's a controversial question, right?
It's a deeply divisive topic. Everyone has their own opinion, and there's no clear right or wrong answer. What's clear is the passion behind it.
I don't like cheesesteak, so...
That's why we wanted to try as many spots as possible and give our own take. Interestingly though, we found that a lot of locals aren't big fans of the classics.
I wouldn't go to Pat's or Geno's. Hell no.
When I have Geno's, I'm no offense to Geno's, but it tastes like leather boots.
The originators of the cheesesteak don't seem to hold the same appeal that they once did.
Yeah, man, one of my personal favorites is a little bit, sorry.
There you go.
Up in like Northeast is Cafe Carmela. If you're in town having a bunch of cheesesteaks, I would try that one.
Okay.
So with all this debate, we knew the only way to get to the bottom of it was to dive in and experience it for ourselves.
We heard from a local that Cafe Carmela is the spot to go to for Philly cheesesteaks. I have my friend Chase here. He's a Philly food expert, and he can vouch for that too. Cafe Carmela, why do you say that is the best spot out in Philly?
It is without a doubt the best cheesesteak that I've had. Now, being a Northeast Philly, born and raised kind of guy, I may be a little bit biased towards the place. The steak, the meat, the seeded roll, the onions, dare I say, perfection.
Perfection. All right, well, we got to see perfection in the kitchen.
Their slogan here, it's on the menu, it's shut up and eat. Ate, zit y manja. Shut up and eat.
But this has become probably one of my favorite restaurants, if not my favorite restaurant to go to.
What makes a good cheesesteak? You know, people talk about the bread and the meats and the cheese.
A good cheesesteak, you have to have a good roll. Seeded, unseeded. A lot of people from back in the day are like, no, cheesesteaks don't go on a seeded roll. I'd say the game has changed a little bit. Get good meat,
okay,
because life starts with good meat, and so does a cheesesteak. The meat here, shaved ribeye. There's kind of like a couple different styles of meat when it comes to the cheesesteak. You got the finely chopped, you got the slab meat, and you have this, which is kind of like that rough chop of meat. So again, you're getting a little bit of meat in your mouth with each and every bite. And then that cheese. I think Angelo's really put out the game plan for when it came to a cheesesteak once they really introduced and amplified Cooper Sharp being the cheese that you couple your cheesesteak with.
That Cooper Sharp, It's got that little funk to it.
I like
that.
yeah, a little bit of funk. That extra sharpness is just something special. Now the onions, some people will go with, they will go without. Some people will change how long they cook them. Are they going to be a little bit browner and more caramelized? Here, they're like right before they start to caramelize, so you're getting all those flavors coming together. Also, it's not overly sweet. So I guess there's only one thing left to do, it's shut up and eat.
I think so too. Let's go.
So much meat, you got to grab it with 2 hands.
Jeez.
There we go.
Let's take it, man.
So, the beauty about this is the more it cools down, the more it comes together, the more bites you take, the better it gets.
Holy crap. Bro, you're not joking about that Cooper Sharp. It adds another dimension of flavor to this cheesesteak.
Because I'm not here to lie.
And it kind of brings all the meat together. With the other cheesesteak spots, like, I could taste the different components of the cheesesteak, but this one, it just blends all the flavors together. It's like, it just makes it one glorious bite.
But this is, without hesitation, my favorite cheesesteak in the city. But you got to give props to the people who came before. The cheesesteak game has changed so much. The people who were like the 1, 2, and 3 of the past are no longer the 1, 2, and 3.
I feel that, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me out. I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
It's easy to see why so many people call Cafe Carmela one of Philly's best. The Cooper Sharp was a game changer, and the bread and the meat were fresher than Pat's, if I'm being honest. But the truth is, most locals will tell you there's no such thing as the best or worst cheesesteak. There are just good cheesesteaks. And for a lot of Philadelphians, their favorite isn't necessarily a popular spot, but rather a corner store near them around the block.
The funny part about cheesesteaks is that it really is a Philly thing. So you can get them at a lot of places. Just
The regular corner store around here, you know what I'm saying? The regular corner stores, they the best spots.
Across Philadelphia, everyone agrees there are plenty of great cheesesteaks. But a few spots get mentioned more than the rest.
I take into account when I'm getting a cheesesteak, how long it takes you to get it. Like, dude, John's roast pork, it's like, it's a solid cheesesteak. You're not gonna take forever to get it.
That brings us to our next stop, John's Roast Pork.
Oh! Oh! All right, guys, we're at another local favorite now, John's Roast Pork. Hold on. Oh, shoot. Yo, my face is like freezing right now. Now, the place is called John's Roast Pork because this place is known for their roast pork sandwiches, but locals have also been saying that the cheesesteak is top notch. Actually argued to be one of the best. Let's go check it out. So just one order of cheesesteak with provolone and onions. Appreciate it, thank you. Let's go. All right, thank you so much, appreciate it. They had no Cooper Sharp today. We got a sharp provolone. It's supposed to be like a really tangy, pungent type of cheese. Oh my gosh. Okay, first things first, price point $14. First thing I'm looking at is the amount of meat inside of here. It's like bulging out of this bread. You guys see this cross section right here? That looks like a good bite right there. Let's see what the hype's about. Some places they chop up the meat, the ribeye slice is so fine and thin, it ends up looking like a chopped cheese. But this place, you can really tell that they keep the integrity of the meat of the sliced ribeye. I can see what the hype is about. Let me take another bite. One thing I want to add too is the fact that the meat is so tender. Like if you want to put a reference to it, Pat's, the tenderness of the meat, I would say is probably like a 4 out of 10. This is more like a 9 out of 10. The meat, the cheese, the onions, and the bread, this is the perfect combo. I think the bread is top notch. $14, you got a steal here at John's Roast Pork. Let's head over to the next spot. So where is the best cheesesteak spot? Angelo? He had to say that under his breath. How come you're over here at John's Roast Pork?
Their roast beef and roast pork is beast. Can't beat it.
Okay.
Just everything else.
Yeah, I've heard that. Actually, that's probably one of our highest responses so far for top pick for a cheesesteak.
Now, after trying John's Roast Pork, I have to say, at $14, you got yourself a pretty good deal. But to be honest, as good as it wasn't really something I could see myself going back for. So we had to visit the spot that was consistently being ranked #1 amongst people in Philadelphia over
Probably Angelo's.
and over
Angelo.
and over again.
And Angelo's.
All right, guys, we're at the most recommended spot by locals out here in Philly for cheesesteak, Angelo's Pizzeria. Right here next to me is the godfather of meat, a cheesesteak expert out here in Philly. So what makes Angelo's the best cheesesteak?
It's all about the bread. They make their bread in-house, and it is the best roll in Philly.
Talking to some people, and you gotta call them ahead get your order on a wait list right at 11, or else you'll probably have to wait, what, like hours?
So the first time I ever came to Angelo's, it took over 200 phone calls to get my order in. Well worth it though. I would have called 500 more times.
There's already a line behind us. It's not even 11. We're not even supposed to be here. I'm gonna open. They already got a whole army of people in the kitchen. You guys see the pile of meat over there? Look at that. That's how much volume they're doing. How many pounds of meat is that on the stovetop, you think?
Good amount.
All right, guys, we're here with Seth, the manager out here at Angelo's Pizzeria. So, Seth, can you talk about the process, step by step, what's going on in making the best cheesesteak out in Philly?
I think it really just starts with the ingredients. So the first step, it starts with the fresh baked bread. We do that daily. Next, we take sliced ribeye, we put it on the grill. Next, we mix in the cheese and the onions. Next step, we scoop the bread, so the middle has all the bread taken out.
Why is that?
So it has better balance, the meat to the bread ratio. You fit more meat in the sandwich.
Dang, okay. And then how much does a cheesesteak cost?
I believe it's $14.
$14?
I believe so.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Pat's charged me 14 bucks.
Oh, wow. Can't say anything about that.
All right, guys, we got the goods here. The most beloved cheesesteak in the city, Angelo's Pizzeria, man.
Oh yeah.
Let's open it up. Let's go see what we got.
Take a look at that.
I think we gotta dig in first, and we'll talk about it after, before it gets too cold. Oh.
So good. Now you've had a couple cheesesteaks now. What do you think?
Bro, I will say, the meat is so good, but it's not just the meat. I love how the Cooper Sharp's kind of like, it's just coating around every single part of this bite, man. It's like extremely gooey, tender, it's flavorful. It's seasoned perfectly, in my opinion.
Cooper Sharp melts nice and creamy.
Amazing.
The best.
Just ate one from down South Street, and I'm looking at these like I wasted my f***ing money.
The quality of this cheesesteak, I mean, you were telling me this is the best spot in the city for sure.
Yes.
Locals are saying it. I think I have to agree.
After trying Angelo's, which is arguably the best cheesesteak on earth, Seth, the manager of Angelo's, gave us a surprising recommendation.
Did you do the Barclay Prime Wagyu cheesesteak?
I have not.
They're the only ones that do like 8.5, they have all the different cuts. They bring you the knife selection, I love it.
Barclay Prime. They're known for their $140 Wagyu cheesesteak, featuring 6 different types of Wagyu beef. Now, it might not be the best cheesesteak in the traditional sense, but it's definitely the most unique. So for our final stop, we had to see what all the hype was about and experience this one-of-a-kind creation for ourselves.
But how good can a $140 cheesesteak be?
All right, so this is our olive Wagyu, but we actually have 6 different Wagyus on the menu, and we use a little bit of each one in the cheesesteak. In here we have caramelized onions and butter, and then in here we have Cooper Sharp mixed with a Perigordine sauce, which is jus-based sauce that comes with truffles inside as well. So there's multiple elements of truffle in here.
So this is $2,000 right here.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
This is these run about 120 a pound. The Kobe that we have that is the more expensive one, that's 145 a pound.
Yeah.
So like when you ask why the cost is the cost, there's $120, $120, $140 per pound.
Yeah.
And there's 9 ounces of meat in this cheesesteak.
Yeah.
So
realistically, like, you're not making that much money off $140.
We don't make any real money on this. This is more like you come here and you try this, but you also sample everything else that we have to offer. It sounds like a lot of money, but it's not making us a lot of money. This is like, hey, you gotta come and try this.
Thanks to Chef Smith for walking us through the ingredients that go into a $140 cheesesteak. Now, let's watch him cook.
The first thing we're gonna do, okay, we're gonna get the butter and the caramelized onions. So we cook these onions down for about 10 hours. Now, I don't wanna ruin all that caramelization, but what I do wanna do, you hear that sizzle?
Yeah.
I wanna just warm it up essentially. Every so often we do reimagine it and change it depending on what the food trends are, and because of the price of it, we try and keep it relevant too, you know, where maybe our Wagyus change out on the menu, so we'll change out the meat. The base of it, the truffles, the Wagyu, and really showcasing the ingredients, that is what is more important than anything.
You said 6 different types.
So we got the
of
6
Wagyu?
different types. We got the 3 Japanese, and then we have also in here the 3 American cuts. When it's more red, it's American, and when it's more white, it's Japanese.
On the pan. People come in just to get the cheesesteaks?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll come in just for the cheesesteaks. It's iconic, you know. Everybody knows it, and you only try it really once in your life, and you're like, wow, this is it.
Like a highlight.
Yeah. We're pretty much there now. I don't want to cook it all the way through. Okay. All of this Wagyu grease, we're gonna take it out. I like all this. This is like when you're making a good gravy,
it's
right?
Like a little
you want the
right
fond
there.
on the bottom.
Yep.
When you're making a good gravy, you don't want that. We're gonna go straight back in the same pan. As it cooks down, you see we're gonna take all of this goodness up here. Okay. So in here we're gonna mix all of this up.
Dang.
But we don't want more grease in there because we got all that cheese and all the sauce. You know, there's plenty of richness in here. You don't want any more in there.
Dang.
Okay.
Oh my
That's
God.
it. It's ready. So our sister restaurant, Park, makes this. We pick it up every day around 1 o'clock.
So you cut it from the top?
We cut it from the top. It's usually a two-man job, right? One person holds it open and the other one goes in. You want to hold it open? You gotta get in there. You gotta work for that meal. We're gonna go all the way to the end. I have a truffle CB sauce right here. More truffles, right? Because you can never have enough. So in here, caramelized onions, sauteed a little harder, added a little bit of cream, reduce it down, fresh thyme, and then we mix in chopped up truffles as well right at the end. So it's essentially like a sauce right on top. More truffle, you can never have too much. Okay, so then we're just gonna shave this right on the top.
Oh my goodness, and he's being generous with it too.
This is our standard. You know, you don't want anybody being like, oh, there's no truffles on mine. And these are the chef tastings, we call them. You know, we make sure that the seasoning's good and all of that. And then for 4 people.
I like that.
And then the piece de resistance, Philly cheesesteak, traditional garnish. There you have it, the $140 Barclay prime cheesesteak.
All right. $140 cheesesteak. So it's not just a cheesesteak. We also get a complimentary glass of champagne, right? I think it's now time to dig in.
All right, let's do this.
All right, let's see it.
It's rich, but it's so good. Then you take a swig of the champagne, and it's like spot on.
Oh my God. I can taste the different textures of meat in there. So the different types of cuts all provide different types of textures.
Oh yeah.
Different flavors.
You know, this is just something that's like, come here, this is us.
This is like a celebratory meal. And maybe if you're rich enough, come here every day. Well, Chef, I'm gonna have to dig into that last bite, but thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks, Chef.
Appreciate it.
And there you guys have it. When visiting Philly to find the best cheesesteaks, I wasn't really expecting to learn so much. From the way people order with or without onions and cheese, to the types of cheese, and how the Cooper Sharp cheese reigns superior, and to the fact that there even is a $140 cheesesteak out there is insane to me. Shout out to Philly for showing us love throughout the city and for showing us why the cheesesteak is one of the most debated and best sandwiches in America.